That's
no
okay.
worries.
And on to this week's podcast, we've got Indifferent Engine. So, welcome, guys.
Yeah, hi, thanks for
Hi
having
there,
us.
thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for coming on.
Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Oh yeah, I'm Adam Paul. I'm the singer.
I'm Alex, I play bass and synths and other bits.
And where are you based?
Cambridge-ish, ostensibly Cambridge. Yeah, greater Cambridgeshire region.
And you usually four piece, is it?
Yeah.
Who are we missing today?
We are missing Ellis, who plays guitar, and Ali, who plays drums.
And how did you guys come together?
So it originally started as my solo project, and then when I was trying to for a long time kind of build it into a band to go out and play shows live, and after just years of trying out different people and things not really working out, it just kind of congealed into a band eventually around the right people that came along at the right time, I think. And I think, yeah, a lot of it's just, a lot of just spending a lot of years trying to put a band together, and then a lot of luck in just running into the right people somewhere along that path. And then we've been playing as the current lineup for about 5-6 years
Probably
now.
about 6 years, I think, yeah.
Alright, so well established.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was releasing material maybe another like 4 or 5 years before that. So I've been doing this about 10 years now, and then we kind of like reset. And when the other guys joined the band, we kind of reset as a live band. And because I feel like a lot of the stuff I was doing before that was just learning to write songs and making enough stuff and trying to make it good enough to kind of attract people to want to join. So it's like once we kind of had the lineup and it kind of solidified, we kind of just pushed reset on it and just started again with new material and going out and trying to kind of like base everything around the live show that we do and make everything very kind of like live sounding.
Right.
Yeah.
What are your musical backgrounds? How did you get into making music?
So I don't really know. I mean, I'm a guitarist primarily. I sing in this band, but I write a lot of the material, and I play guitar on some of the studio tracks, and I've played guitar on like previous releases and things. So I always think of myself as a guitar player rather than a singer, and I'm a singer out of necessity of having to sing, because finding someone who's willing to sing is quite hard. So it's kind of I kind of come at it as a guitar player more than anything, and a songwriter more than anything. And then I don't know about Alex though.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing bass since I was like 15, I think, 14 or 15. My dad played a lot of guitar when I was growing up, so kind of osmosed a lot of stuff through him, and the kind of stuff that he was playing informed a lot of how I've learnt how to play bass, at least for a while, and then kind of picked it up again in anger after I graduated from university and had not a lot to do after graduating and not a lot of jobs. So like, yeah, I feel like I've been playing bass for about 20 years, but maybe playing well for about half of that time. So.
So, where did the band name come from?
So the band name, I came up with that when I first started the solo project, and I literally just crapped it out. It's just like, I just wanted something technical sounding, a bit proggy sounding, and hopefully not sound like, because band names is one of those things that it's like sometimes you're a bit too close to it and you can't tell if it's embarrassing or not, right? And it's just, I just wanted something that wouldn't be embarrassing to tell people that that's the name of my band. And so I just kind of sense checked it with a couple of different people, and just just basically just came up with it. Like there's not really a good story there, to be honest.
Sometimes that's the best way. Just just go with the flow. But what are your musical influences?
So I think for me, a lot of it comes from at the drive-in and Mars Volta and Sparta and and Thursday and These Arms Are Snakes, like kind of a lot of post-hardcore stuff. But then like a lot of pretty much everything that I listen to, like there's all kinds of just random stuff in there that me and Alex talk about quite a bit. Like I look towards the end of writing the album, I was listening again to a lot of like Simon and Garfunkel and stuff like that, and so some like I think Acetate, like some of that kind of came out of just listening to too much of that at that time, and so it was like starting to try and do more kind of like one man and his acoustic guitar kind of stuff towards the end, and try and then reverse engineer that into something that we could play with the band. And yeah, a lot of earlier stuff like Dire Straits and like just like basically anything that I just like, and I've been listening to Lorne quite a bit, and like me and Alex kind of like talk about like Sega Sunset and the bass sound on that quite a lot, and how ridiculously cool it is. And that's
so it's like 40 hertz, really grindy synth bass. It's incredible.
Yes. So I think it's just like really, like I think we struggle sometimes when we talk to people about like our influences, because
we're actually just a bunch of dorks. Like we play in a hardcore band, but like the bits of hardcore which we've all kind of osmosed individually are all like quite small and look like kind of like, Adam and Ellis are very like that 2000s post-hardcore at the drive-in Thursday kind of thing. I've come from more on like the hardcore, like kind of the art hardcore stuff, like Mission of Burma and Gang of Four and stuff, and Ali's like a lot more kind of millennial, kind of that sort of era of hardcore. And so like you get people asking us about like Snapcase and stuff, and we're like, cool, yeah, probably, yeah. in actuality, like all we actually want to talk about and all we actually want to listen to is like, I don't know, I talk to Ali about funk quite a lot, like yeah.
Trying to get Ellis to listen to like Steve Vai and Paul Gilbert and stuff recently. Just listen to these like guitar players that I like, and just like, especially Steve Vai's got like so many like really progressive, interesting bits in there that are worth kind of like knowing. But it's hard like to kind of like we don't really fit too well into that kind of like, oh, they're a hardcore band or they're a post-hardcore band or something, because we can't with any integrity claim to have any idea of what we're talking about with that stuff. So.
I mean, for me, I think you can hear the influence on the album anyway of the Sparta and the Drive-In. That's definitely
that's what I get straight away.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think like at first I was trying to kind of almost just like rip off at the drive-in, because it was like I didn't really know how to write songs, because the first songs I wrote were for this band, and I just was like, they were like, when I first started writing stuff, when your first songs you write, it was are just absolutely terrible, and so you kind of like have to make a path forward as like, oh, how am I gonna write stuff that isn't bad, and how am I gonna know that it's not bad, right? And so I think like just choosing like an artist or a couple of artists that have a really distinct style that you really like and trying to replicate it is like a really good way, because if you can get to a point where you've written a song that functions as a song and it kind of sounds a bit like something you really like, then it must, by some metric at least, be a decent song. And so then once you can regularly kind of do that, then you can kind of move into finding your own voice with it and taking it somewhere new. And I feel like a lot, like the first half before the guys joined the band, all of it was basically me just trying to figure out how to write songs in that style and trying to replicate that. And I think probably the last single that I put out before the guys joined the band is literally just me trying to rip off an At the Drive-In song and make it sound like something they might have written, So I think like a lot of that is carried forward, because that's kind of my default setting, is to write in that style. And I think like a lot of the variation is kind of a combination of me trying to now figure out how to do something that's my own, coupled with the influences that the other guys are bringing in, because they brought in a whole mess of stuff. And sometimes I'll take them a song that's like, I've written this thing and it's kind of pretty straightforward verse chorus bridge, verse chorus type thing, and it's got that kind of slightly janky post-hardcore thing going on, and the guys will just like add parts into it and turn it into something else, and And so I think like that is really the only reason that the album is as interesting as it is because the other guys have kind of like added their stuff into the mix. Yeah.
That goes on to our next question of what's your songwriting process like, but I think you've described that.
Yeah, it's definitely changing now. Like I think like this next out, like we're about to start work on the next album, and that we're going to try a completely different methodology. I think because previously we've all kind of like written separately and then brought stuff to the room, and a lot of the time I'll be like, here's a basically finished song, and then we learn it and improve it and modify it. But the best track on the album was probably Bit Crush, and that track was written by all of us like kind of organically in the room, and it's just far better than anything else that's on the album. And so I think like being in a situation where we just write in the room together and finding a way to make that kind of methodical is what we're after. I think we've got a good plan because we've got our own recording set up here now, so the idea is to kind of come in and just track jams basically, and then just I can go away and try putting vocals on it and just come up with little snippets and little what I think I'll call like swatches of songs and then build them up that way. So I think the new stuff that we'll work on will be quite different in terms of how we go about writing compared to what we did with Speculative. But I think that's probably a good thing to try and kind of go in some other direction.
So what non-musical influences shaped your sound the most?
So for me, it'd be like Adam Curtis documentaries, probably. Like I think Alex has probably got quite a few here.
Yeah, I mean, like, kind of, we talk about like pulp sci-fi books quite a lot, like the kind that you buy like 30p from secondhand bookshops. Like Philip K. Dick's a big one for me, especially. Just the way that he writes. And because he was such a weird paranoid guy that like that really voices through in his books and kind of overlays really nicely with like we've got the same kind of weird tech fear Bakelite punk thing going on anyway, and so it's just really felt like a natural meshing there. That kind of like sort of paranoid sci-fi.
Yeah, we were reading quite a lot of stuff. Like I was reading Martian Timeslip that you put me onto while we were writing the album, and I was recently been reading through like the Expanse series and stuff like that. So there's like a lot of like quite hard sci-fi stuff in there that kind of influences. It definitely influences the lyrical content, I think. All that kind of stuff. It's good.
We've talked about which bands have influenced you the most, but is there a particular musician that have influenced each of you?
So I guess that's hard because I tend to go through like eras of being obsessed with like a certain artist. Like I don't have like a huge breadth of knowledge in music. I just tend to get very obsessed by an individual like artist or band for a period of time and then just listen to nothing else. And sometimes it's even just like an individual album, like I'll just listen to that one album and I won't even go and listen to their other stuff for some reason. I just get strangely fixated on an individual album. And so like I remember when I first started in music, it was a Jimi Hendrix CD that I had. It was like I think it was like the greatest hits, like Experience Hendrix disc or something, and I think my dad gave it to me, and I must have like played that album to death. Like I think there was a good like 3 years where I literally listened to nothing but that CD, and like so it's like that's probably that would be like quite a big part of it. And then I've gone through like obviously at the drive-in I got like Relationship Command and then didn't listen to anything but that for like a long time. And just like individual things like that rather than like I don't think there's any one. There's right. It's kind of like there's probably 4 or 5 that have kind of like concatenated together to kind of like form kind of the artistic outlet that I have maybe. But Alex, you know like everything though.
I don't know. I've got such. It's such a basic bitch bass player answer, but Geddy Lee. It's Geddy Lee. Like every time I'm like, what would a cool thing to do here be? I'd just be like, I'll just nick a Rush part. Like no one will notice. I just like nick a little lick from there or something. Or I think that's always been such a big one for me. Like I just love his playing. Recently, I've been listening to like quite a lot of Robin Guthrie, the one of the guitarists, like the main guy from Cocteau Twins, who's kind of gone on to just do this like really engaging ambient career after he's like guitar-led ambient music after Cocteau Twins broke up, and that's been really inspiring for just like you know, how do you make these textures, like what is he doing, like just trying to approach it from like a really analytical point of view, which is such a terrible thing to do with music sometimes, but I think that's what I've been putting a lot of effort into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite influenced by Cocteau Twins myself. I really, like, from a young age, my uncle had me listening to them. And when you go back and revisit them, you just see how many different sounds they have from album to album.
Yeah,
You
and
look at how harsh something like Bluebell Mall is compared to something like Victorialand. And
like the real poppy, really pretty poppy stuff versus like the stuff that the album they did with like Harold Budd is like, I can't stop listening to it. Like it's gorgeous and so textural and so sad and so like beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. And outside of the instrumental roles you have within the band, do you have specific roles that you complete for the band?
I've kind of fallen into the role of de facto art director for the band, based on the fact that I have a C in A-level art and nobody else does.
Better than my artwork, which is always just horrific.
And so I was doing a lot of like, I had a lot of time over COVID, and I was doing a lot of like kind of textural video editing stuff just to kind of teach myself things. And I was like, hey, this is great, I can just do backdrops for the band and stuff now. And that's kind of evolved into, I ended up doing the artwork for the album as well, sort of out of necessity, because when you spend all your money on a good producer and getting it mixed and everything, there's nothing left in the tank to do the artwork. So I think was it your idea to with the TVs on stage, with the old CRT televisions? I think that's mostly Adam, but I've definitely been a bad influence on it. I think sitting there at the back cackling and rubbing my hands like, yeah, this is great, yeah, do more of this.
And what is the I mean, I've not seen you yet. I'm hoping I will be seeing you next Saturday at Tangent.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So what is the use of the TVs? Don't mind me asking.
I think it's one of the things with the show, I think, is that we try to don't know how to put it, but almost like kind of shock people out of their normal expectations of what they expected to see at our show. So when they kind of come to like a club show we're playing on, and we might be like a band that they've not necessarily seen or heard of before, and we tend to get this kind of like, oh, they're a post-hardcore band, so people kind of come with like expectations of what the band's going to be, and then by the end of the set, I think it's usually kind of clear that we're not really like that. It's kind of quite a different sort of show, and it's very kind of like viscerally emotional, and so it's kind of almost like a way to kind of take people out of themselves, so that they kind of come in and they see all these static TVs and they're like, oh, what's this like? And it kind of like you almost get kind of like a buy-in from the audience a lot quicker, and they're more willing to accept you doing things that are not necessarily a normal part of the script of a rock show, which at this point in culture is kind of like, there's so much of like what people expect from a gig that's kind of set in the common kind of mindset of, these are the things that happens at a show, and these are the things that the front man should say, and you know what I mean. It's like such an established language of how that works, that if you want to do something that's not that, I feel like you have to work kind of extra hard in order to get the audience to kind of like accept it. And so the TVs are kind of part of that, and I think that the CRT TVs in particular because there's so many and they're so big and they're so heavy and they're so difficult to move, it's kind of instantly like, what the hell is this? Like, how did they get these here? Like, why are they here? Like, and we don't really explain at any point in the show, or like, and it's just, I think it just kind of, it just kind of helps. It's just one more of those things that kind of helps people to kind of like accept the horrible abuse that we're gonna put them through.
I'm guessing you probably a stage manager's nightmare though as well with that any additional flux on.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Well, it's funny actually because like I think like people think they're going to be like a nightmare in terms of like the amount of power they draw and all that stuff, but they don't actually draw all that much power. Like when we actually went round and we tested them all for their average current draw, and we have them all stickered up with what they take. I think like the biggest rig we have only takes something like 5 or 6 amps, which is like half of a socket, right? So it's like, you know, so because they have quite high inrush, when you first turn them on, they draw a lot more current than they do when they've been running for a few seconds. You have to it's good to distribute them and maybe put them on the lighting ring or something, but generally like kind of just turn them on one by one instead of all at the same time, and that's about the only extra thing you have to worry about. And then it's just getting them on and off stage quickly enough, and I don't think we've ever overrun a turnaround. Have we?
No,
I don't think so.
We've always tried to be very like we are bringing all of this nonsense with us. Like this is us doing a stupid thing, and to respect your time, we will manage this, and we will be out of the way as fast as possible, because like if we couldn't do that, like it's just so disrespectful to other bands and venues and stuff if you're just dicking around being like, oh excuse me, I've got more gear to take off. So
I do find it funny then when you have a band that got like they've just got their like floorboards straight into the PA and somehow they can't get off the stage or on the stage. Turn around and what are you doing? Like we've got a flotilla of CRTs and we can manage it. Like it's just it's bizarre.
So you've recently toured with Sparta as well. How was that, given the fact that they were such an influence on the early sound?
Yeah, really cool. Except like I kind of spent the whole time just going in a corner more than anything. So like probably a bit awkward for them, but like it was really cool, really exciting, really enjoyed it.
Well, Chris mentioned you're playing Arctanian. What's been your favourite gig so far that you played?
Go on, Alex. I can't remember most of them.
Yeah, I think like we've just had the last few shows, like those 2 Sparta shows were both like really good. The Rough Trade one especially, like there's some tech issues outside of it, but like that was they were shows that kind of felt a bit like, hey, cool, we like achieved a thing as a band, like getting like landing a good support slot for a couple of like a band that we care so heavily about. I think that's probably a pretty fair one. Recency bias a little bit as well, but
yeah, I definitely would second that.
Sorry, go on.
No, yeah, I would say the same. I think the Sparta one's probably just because it's such a like meaningful thing to like get to support an artist that you actually genuinely care about. It's kind of just a really cool thing that I'll remember for the rest of my life that I got to play that show. So it's like it's cool. I think I don't know if there's one in particular that we've done. I think the release show was good because we got to actually like play the whole album through, and that's maybe the first time we've done that.
We did it a little bit in warm up for before release. We did it a couple of times, but that was the first like proper advertised, hey, we're doing this as a thing.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of our what we would consider our home venue. So yeah, that was really nice. Like a lot of friends there, a lot of like, you know, a lot of love in that room for it. So
yeah, it just felt good, didn't it? Yeah.
I've seen a lot of the pictures on social media from it, along with because obviously the Grey played as well, and we had them last week on the pod as well, so we were talking about it then too. But yeah, it looked like it was a really good show, that one.
Yeah, having a go on after the Greys a thing that I hate to do. They're just I'm a big fanboy of theirs, and like I think they're the absolute like one of the best bands doing the thing on the scene at the moment. So having a follow that was like hard work. So
It's definitely a thing obviously going on in Cambridge at the moment, because you know you've got yourselves and you've got the Grey as well, so there is a bit of a tight scene.
Yeah, they're lovely lads. Like got a lot of time for them.
Yeah, same.
Have you had any gig disasters?
I think every
Not-
show something breaks, doesn't it? Like, because our show is so like aggressive, like, and it's aggressive in like a different way to like other bands. I think like we always manage to break something. Like there'll be at least half a song where like the bass or the guitar or something doesn't work right, or just and it's just we've just kind of like accepted it as part of our show now, because that's just it's just not possible to do the show the way we do it without something breaking. So it's just kind of what we do. But in terms of like a really bad one, I'm not sure really. Like,
I think we've avoided some for a while. There was I think one of the worst shows we played was like a week before Christmas in 2019 maybe. We were like, oh great, cool, we got like a shout out from a London promoter, looks like a bit of a mixed bag thing, and we show up and there's like two bands. There's like 4 people there, and so we ended up playing to like 2 of this 3-piece like string electronica band, one of which left, and then like one of my friends, and it was like it was such a like, what are we doing here? Are we like part of a money laundering thing?
I'm pretty sure it was a front for something. That place, yeah. Like they just had to have live music to prove that it was a legitimate venue or something.
It was really weird, and it was like it's like a week before Christmas, and I think like we started the sound check, and immediately like 2 notes in, the sound guy's like, the drums are way too loud, drums are way, everything needs to come down, the drums are too loud, and we just like, all right.
Yeah.
What do you expect us to do?
Yeah, on paper it was a sellout.
I think we just wanted to play it because it was the first. That might have been the first show.
One of the first London ones.
Yeah, so it was like,
it's still new and exciting, and
yeah.
Do you have any pre-show rituals that you can share?
Can of Red Bull. That's about it. Going to the bathroom far too many times.
Ellis and I try and spend time doing stretches before we start, because like the amount of shows I've done, like next day I'm just like, I can't really walk properly. Like I have too many weird power stances while playing that I need to like stretch, else I just kind of throw something out. Yeah.
Have you guys got a dream venue that you'd like to play?
I think like Camden Underworld's like a nice humble goal one. I think like it's
it seems maybe achievable. Right?
Yeah. I've been to so much good stuff there over the years, and like especially like after I graduated, there was a period of maybe 3 or 4 years where I would be at the Underworld like weekly, if not like more than once a week for shows. Like when you're like, great, I have disposable income and I live close enough to London that I can like get back from the venue in about an hour. Like it was wonderful. I was living right next to a train station as well at the time, so it was like I was there so much that like it's been it was quite a lot of formative shows there for me.
So you mentioned earlier on that you're about to start working on the next album. What plans have you put in place so far for it? Is it just a case of starting the writing process?
Yeah, so I've got a few bits and pieces knocking about. That there's a bunch of stuff that we wrote for the last album that just went on the back burner or didn't make the cut, and stuff that I feel is still kind of like viable. There's some stuff that we wrote like right at the end that we wrote too close to tracking that wasn't really going to be ready in time for the studio, and so there's a bunch of stuff kind of sat waiting for me to kind of do something with it. And a lot of the time it's kind of like there's one track that I wrote where it's only really like 2.5 minutes long, and it's a bit kind of similar in the sense to Wormholes, in that it's kind of meant to be kind of almost like a vibe track that kind of sits between other songs. But there's just something about it that I really like, that I want to kind of like build other songs around it. And so I've kind of got these little ideas of things I want to try and things I want to do. But I think more than anything, I just want to, because I've kind of made this decision that we're going to kind of change the methodology this time around, and we're going to come in and we're going to do a lot more writing live and try to capture it on the spot. I'm just going to kind of get the guys in regularly, and we're just going to track loads of random stuff. And then I'm going to go away and cut it up and put vocals on it and just see what kind of songs grow out of that, really. So it's just, I think most of the planning has been logistics of just getting the studio set up, making sure we've got all the gear that we need to get on with it so that we can kind of start that demoing process and just start pumping stuff out and not worrying about what it is, and then just seeing what we've got once we've done it, basically. So some of those two things, or some kind of meet in the middle somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Yeah, so I was just gonna say there's a lot of good stuff that was kind of kicking around that never quite got over the line, from like either like the lyrics weren't quite right, or there was just like something wrong in the vibe, or we couldn't figure out a way how to play it. Like the amount of effort it would have taken to play it well enough to record it was like time spent better spent on the stuff that we did have.
Yeah, so. Especially towards the end, when it was just like we'd been working on the album for a long time and we'd written a lot of stuff for it, and we just kind of needed to just get it done. Like, it's like if we keep writing more and more stuff, we already wrote like far more stuff than we needed to for the album. We tracked more than we needed for the album. I was like, if we could just keep going forever, but then we'll never get anything released. So I think we just kind of made quite a conscious decision to just fucking put something out. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff left over. I think like I kind of don't make it easy in the way I write vocals as well, because I'm unusual in that I up till now almost exclusively write the lyrics before anything else, and so I have the vocal part first and then I write music to it, and that's not how most other people work.
No, that's quite unusual.
Yeah, and like that makes it quite difficult for the guys, because, or even for myself, because sometimes I'll write a song musically that is really good. Like we have one that's basically demoed up, it's just all written, and it's got a really cool vocal melody, because I tried writing it music first, but then I just can't fit lyrics to it because I can't imagine anything that will fit an existing melody or rhythm. I have to write the words first and then find the natural rhythm of those words and then put that to music rather than the other way around. And so I think part of what I want to try with this album is just forcing myself to have to do it the other way around for a while to see what happens, because I think because I've always just written songs for myself in my bedroom, and that's always the way that I've worked, I've never developed the ability to do it the other way around, and so that's what I kind of want to focus on, and hopefully it'll take us in a bit of a different direction as well if I'm kind of forced to work in a different way, and it'll free the guys up to be more involved in bringing the like more complete musical ideas as well, because they won't have to necessarily worry about, oh, we can't bring this musical idea because Adam just won't be able to put lyrics to it. Right? Like, so like, yeah, I've just got to like force myself to do it really. But for some reason I always have just done it the other way around, and I find that a lot easier because I can just kind of write. Typically I write the lyrics like I'm writing like prose, I guess, like short stories or something, and then edit it down, and then you just look for. Because one of the things I noticed is Alex has these great samples from, I think it's from a Philip K. Dick like audiobook, and I noticed where like a lot of the time, if the prose in a book is really good, you can hear that it will fit to music. And there's one in particular that Alex has that's like every line is like so perfect. Even just the guy reading it, not reading it to a click or anything, it's like it so perfectly would fit to music, and it becomes clear that like there's a kind of an inbuilt kind of musical rhythm to really well written stories. So if you look to kind of write things that are kind of just very interesting to read, then they kind of naturally will become songs. I feel like maybe Pylon Cult is like the most obvious one of those, where it's almost like the whole thing is just like you could read. Like I've thought about paying some really cool voice actor to just read the lyrics out, because it's basically like written like a short story, right? And and that just naturally fell over the bass line that we put down, and it just kind of worked, didn't it? So I think
The question was going to be, do you have gigs and gigs of material that you don't put out, or it just sits on the back burner?
yeah, definitely. I've got like whole albums of stuff that I've just never put out because they just weren't. Because I don't like have a style I write in typically. Like I'll just write songs, and sometimes it comes out as a style of music I don't even particularly like. Right, like that's just what I write, so it just comes out. And so I've got like a whole like I've got. I was talking to Ellis the other day. I've got like a pop metal like album. It's got like 7 or 8 tracks on there that are basically all written and produced enough for like a good demo quality. But I just don't really like that style of music that much, so I've just sat on it forever. It's just sometimes you just have to write whatever comes out to get it out, and so you can move on to the next thing, you know. And so like yeah, there's loads of stuff. There's loads of songs that I just don't think are right or for whatever reason. And then that's before you get into like the individual chunks where it's like, okay, well, I've like one of the tracks I really want to finish is I've had for like probably about 4 or 5 years just a verse and a chorus that I really like, but I've never been able to turn it into something else. And I've just got folders full of that kind of stuff. And I just kind of earmark the ones that I really like to come back to later in the hope that I might be able to finish them.
Yeah.
But I know Ellis is exactly the same. Like he wrote loads of songs for this album, right? That never really got finished. Like, so yeah, we've got a big like SoundCloud playlist somewhere of the best ones. That's just yeah, it's got to be like about 50 tracks long, right? Like there's just stuff that just didn't make the cut or didn't get finished or whatever. Yeah.
So double album opus next one then.
Well, I think
Depends how self-indulgent we're feeling. But, yeah.
Yeah. I think we just have to like. I think sometimes that you have to kind of be that way just to make sure that the quality like stays above a certain baseline. Because there's definitely stuff we recorded even in the studio that we then didn't think was right, and even some of the ones that we recorded that I was on the fence about. We've got at least a couple of tracks that we tracked with Tom in the studio that are good enough quality that you could release them. They wouldn't be like embarrassing or anything, but like that there's just something about them that just isn't. I can't even explain what it is. They just aren't right.
some of it was like when you start having to whittle down everything you've recorded and everything you could record to like, great, what's a manageable album length? Like what feels correct for this? And then you start going like, right, well, we now have to start being ruthless with the things we're cutting, and then which of these things is either the least best or just vibe-wise doesn't kind of feel like it fits with the rest of it. And I think like the stuff that got left behind is mostly the latter more than the former, I would think. Like I think, yeah, it's good enough that if someone came to us and was like, do you want to stick a track on a compilation or something, we'd be like, oh yeah, we've got this one done, and it'd be you know, you could put it out and it'd be fine. But like just it didn't kind of feel right, the stuff that got left behind for the album. So
Yeah, agreed. And then there's one of the tracks that we recorded, and it just didn't really come together in the studio. But I'm convinced that the backbone of the song is good, and there's just something about the way we were trying to track it, or because it's the one track that, because when we recorded the album, we did everything by and large live in the room, right? And we played as a band in the room. A lot of the tracks are done even with just like the amps in the room with the drums, and those songs always seem to be the ones that went the best. And that was kind of the original idea, was to kind of do things as live as possible. And that one song that we did where we didn't do that, where we kind of tried to piece it together a bit more, just didn't work. And I'm convinced that's possibly why it didn't work, was because we just weren't performing it as we would if we were playing it live. And it just
you need that live setting.
Yeah.
there was a lot of sound design in it, and we were trying to work from the sound design and then kind of tempo match everything to that. Whereas Bit Crush, we had some sound design in the room, but then after the fact, I went back and reprogrammed all the synths and re-recorded everything in time with the music, because the music was off click and very in the room. So, like, I think if we went back and did it that way and did all the instrumentation first, then went and kind of was like, okay, well, here's the skeleton for the sound design. Let's now match this back in and actually spend the time piecing it back in again. I think there is a song in there somewhere. So
yeah, I was just too married to the because we did a lot of like sound design on the intro section in particular that was like just loads of tape samples and stuff, and I was just really married to it, and like I couldn't let go of that sound design. But I think that's what messed it up, really. Like, we, as you say, we should have done it the other way around and just gone in and used the spirit of what we'd done in the sound design before as a kind of palette to do it again. And yeah, I think that would have made it come together. So that's another one I'm kind of keen to like just revisit at some point. And so like, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff to work on. But I'm keen that we write like a whole bunch of new stuff as well, because I kind of feel like I want to go in a bit of a different direction. I don't really know what that is yet, but like just do something a bit different. Like I don't want to just release like another speculative fiction, because it wouldn't like, I don't really see the value in that really. It kind of yeah, we've kind of done that already, right? So I want to kind of try, yeah, just coming up with some different sounds, and to do that we just need a different methodology, I think, to give us a new palette to work with. And we just have to kind of trust that when we kind of listen back to stuff, that we'll be quite critical about what we think works and what doesn't, and let that kind of guide us to making something good, hopefully.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing it.
Right, so we're going to move on to the fun section now, a bit more light-hearted. If you could only listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Go on, Alex.
No, this is such a fiddly one, because I've got like, I think it's one of those things where I couldn't name my favourite album, but I probably could sit here in the tank and give you my top maybe 30 of how I feel at the moment. I think there's probably a sensible answer of like, there's got to be a double album that's good enough or something that I can listen to and not get bored a lot. Like, Lark's Tongues by King's Crimson is a great one. Introducing by DJ Shadow is a great one. Sing to God by Cardiacs is like probably something I could listen to 30 times a day. Yeah. I don't. It's such a hard question. No.
Introducer is a good shout, though, because that is a fantastic album.
It's. I kind of consider it to be like, I don't think there's anything I could pull as wrong on Introducing, and I frequently cited it while we were putting the album together of like, how do you make songs kind of mesh together, and how do you like do interesting stuff of like, it didn't really come together on the album, but there was a lot of talk about like musical phrases that kind of pull out from one part of the album and then come back in a different context elsewhere, and yeah, it's just wonderful. Let's just put that down as my answer. I think I've listened to that album like hundreds of times, and still like every time I find something new just kind of snuck in there.
How are you, Adam? Give you time to think.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think like the obvious answer is probably Relationship and Command, because it was like, it's one album that is probably the only album that I've listened to consistently through my whole adult life. Whereas like I've gone through periods where I've listened to like other things. Like I went through a period where I was listening to a lot of like Terrier by Devon Townsend. Like I was just listening to that and Ocean Machine just back to back, day after day, and like was just obsessed with that for a long time. But then that kind of wanes after a while, and then I move on to the next thing. But all the while, no matter what I'm listening to, like I went through the same thing with Steve Vai, where I was just listening to Passion and Warfare like every day. Just, but all through all these things, I always listen to Relationship Command. It's the one album that I always go back to, that I never seem to get tired of. So I think that would probably be it. So a bit of a boring answer though. Probably Relationship Command, or maybe In Casino Out, just because it's a little bit like
go for the edgy choice, yeah.
Yeah,
go for the,
just
contrarian option.
Sound a little bit cooler. I liked them before they were famous. Like, yeah.
So, if you were to go on a world tour as a band, what country would you both be excited to visit?
Japan.
Yeah, Japan's like the most, like, just because it'd be such a good holiday, right? Like Japan's such a brilliant country. I was lucky enough to visit a few years back. I went on my honeymoon with my wife to Japan, and it was like the best place I've ever been. It's just so cool, and the people are so friendly, and there's so much to see, and so much culture, and the food's brilliant. And yeah, so it's like, besides getting to like play some new shows and do some cool stuff, you get to be in Japan, which is awesome.
Pretty much, yeah.
And if you could work with one famous musician, past or present, who would it be?
Well, we talked about because we're quite like against doing covers, maybe like it's not the kind of thing that feels like natural for us as a band to do. But if we were to ever like cover something, we talked about doing like The Boxer by Simon and Garfunkel or something like that, right? Or where it's like it kind of like there's a kind of darkness to it. It's like quite simple musically and straightforward, but but the lyrics are absolutely brilliant, and there's a real like kind of I don't know how else to put it, but like kind of like just existential darkness to it that I really like, and I just think we could do like a really good job of doing like a really dark, like synthed up version of something like that. But like so maybe Paul Simon would be a good one, but I don't know. What do you think, Alex?
About Paul Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, real difficult question. Like, Eno, production through Eno, production through Steve Albini. Just get David Byrne on it. Why not?
Interesting choices. Have you got a current song that's on repeat?
Big Time by Peter Gabriel at the moment.
Tune.
Yeah, I've been in this this Peter Gabriel thing recently, and I've been going through everything. Like, I quite like his. I really like his voice. I think he's an incredible vocalist, and I've always kind of struggled getting into his solo stuff. And it's like So is just like such a great album, and it's like kind of the first album where I think everything comes together for me. Where like I think all his really poppy stuff's so much better than it was before. All the experimental stuff feels a lot better, and I think it's just that kind of glossy 80s new wavy production that it's got on it that like really works for it. And Big Time's like mint, really good.
How about you, Adam?
Probably Last Great American Whale by Lou Reed. Like I've been listening to that a lot recently. Like I was listening to it when we were working on the album, because I feel like a lot of the kind of monologue-y stuff, there was some of that kind of coming through a little bit. And I put it on, me and Alex and the other guys, we started throwing together like an influences playlist from Spotify that we thought about maybe putting out at some point. And that was one of the ones that I remembered and put on there. And then since then, I've just been listening to it loads. Like there's just something really... It's just like kind of darkly funny and just like kind of, I don't know how to put it really. Like, very cynical. Like there's like a kind of cynicism to it that I find really quite enjoyable. And musically it's quite, again, it's very like simple and cyclical, but like quite like dense as well somehow. Like there's all kinds of like sound design in there that's obviously quite well thought out and quite interesting. But it still has like, it's almost a bit like Bit Crush in that it has like a kind of a live quality to it as well, right? Like that's, and there's such a like ease of delivery to the vocal parts that I find quite enjoyable to listen to. So I've been listening to that quite a lot. Yeah.
We're going to move on to the quick fire questions now. Vinyl or streaming?
I'm a vinyl guy, yeah. Streaming's great. I've discovered so much stuff through streaming, and like I don't think I would have listened to a third of the stuff I would have listened to without it. But I like collecting things. So
I stream. I've never really owned vinyl until like literally recent. Mainly kickstarted by our album getting put out on vinyl. I thought I should probably own some vinyl so I can like pretend I'm like a hipster and have like my vinyl on top of a stack of other people's vinyl that I pretend I've listened to. But no, I've always been a streaming guy just because I'm quite like lazy. and I, when I was like first starting to get into music was just around the same time as Napster probably came along. So like I think I'd like just started like rifling through my dad's CDs, and then kind of Napster came along, and a lot of the music I was getting was from that. Because I mean, when you're a kid, you don't have any money, so like you just download stuff, and then that naturally kind of progressed to kind of streaming stuff. And then I've never really had a proper CD collection. I own like a handful of my own CDs that I bought, but like it's like maybe a stack only, like about that high or something of CDs that I really love that I have. But yeah, never really taken the time to kind of collect music like that. I'm kind of and I get so like obsessed about individual tracks, individual albums, individual artists I'm so like tunnel visioned with it that I wouldn't. Yeah, my collection just wouldn't be very big. Like, yeah.
It becomes a problem anyway, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I did the Discogs recently and like went through and like I was like I was redoing the living room and I'm like, here's a great time to like catalog everything, and you start getting like halfway through it and you're like, oh god, this is for insurance purposes, I promise.
I won't even show my wife my Discogs. It's not worth seeing it.
Whiskey or beer?
Beer.
I drink beer more often. I prefer whiskey, and I'd like to say whiskey to sound cooler, but probably beer. Yeah, probably drink more beer than whiskey. Yeah.
And then
Big
gin
festivals or
above.
intimate gigs?
Sorry.
Big festivals or intimate gigs?
It's a tricky one for me because I don't go to a lot of shows outside of the ones that I'm playing at. I think I tend to go to quite intimate shows when I do. Like I go sometimes with like the guys. Like we went to see Glassjaw and Mars Volta, and I went to the Flaming Lips last year or the year before, and that was brilliant as well. So but they're like, I guess they're not like, they're club venues, right? They're like decent sized club venues. So I'm not sure if that counts as intimate or not, but I think I tend to go to those more than I would festivals. I think, but a lot of it's just because like life, right? Like it's hard to get like 3 days off from family and work and other responsibilities to actually go to like a festival, right? So, and the sound's always better at like club venues as well. Like the show, the quality of the show is always like better. Like, yeah.
Festival, just because it feels a bit more like a holiday, I think. I go to enough gigs that like festivals are a bit more of an event. So
Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Oh, Harry Potter, I think.
Star Wars.
I
For
would
its sins.
Yeah, I would have said Star Wars if you'd have caught me probably about 20 years ago, but like I just have got a deep hatred of Star Wars now. I'm just so tired of Star Wars that like it doesn't even matter if it's good. I just hate it on principle. Like I just don't want to ever see any Star Wars ever again.
I have a soft spot for Star Wars. I'm not so much for like much post Disney stuff, but like yeah. 90s Star Wars, like all the expanded universe stuff that was kicking around then is very good. I'm a fan of that.
I'm just like original trilogy, unedited original trilogy, and then if they should just burn everything done after that point and never speak about it. And the video games, I used to love the video games, like the early like X-Wing and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter and all that stuff was absolutely brilliant.
I've been replaying through the Dark Forces series recently. It's still good.
But yeah, they've just expended like my
the goodwill's kind of
my
pissed
goodwill is
gone at this point.
with Star Wars. I'm done with it. Yeah, no more.
I think when they did Rogue One, I thought that was quite good because it had the aesthetic of the original trilogy.
They did a bit of dogfighting towards the end, and that was kind of all I wanted from that film. It's like I've come to accept I'm never getting a Rogue Squadron film, and if that's the closest I get to a Rogue Squadron film, then like that'll do.
I'm quite like I find the aesthetics quite important actually. So like that's one of the things I really hate about when they update I think in some of the newer films they had like X-wing fighters, right? But they'd updated the design slightly and made them look a bit sleek.
They're a little bit shinier.
They're supposed to look clunkier and more like all the displays. You know, like when they do.
There's some boring lore reasons behind this. If you want me to be a nerd about it, but.
Yeah, just I really like retrofuturism, and I think when they kind of like update things, they kind of miss that like that's kind of that kind of like idea of what the future would be from 1970 was kind of part of the charm of what made things good, and the Alien franchise have really kind of understood that, but like yeah, not so much in the Star Wars universe.
I was going to say, because one of the Alien Isolation game I thought did that really well.
Yeah.
And brought it into the future with the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and yeah, it's just like if you make it clear it's an aesthetic choice, then people will just accept it part of the universe, and it becomes like a really big positive thing, I think. Yeah.
So we're on to our final question, which is the mystery meat milkshake or a meat feast pizza with a toothpaste sauce.
I didn't catch any of that. What's that? That all just sounded just
With the two
nasty.
scouts.
God.
A mystery meat milkshake or a meat feast pizza with a toothpaste sauce.
Adam's a vegetarian, so he's got a good out.
So that's not gonna. Yeah, it's both. I guess the pizza, because I can just like eat the crust and be happy.
Is the milkshake warm or is it cold?
That's a choice. That one.
Oh.
You can make that choice yourself.
I think I could probably a warm milkshake. I could be like, it's just creamy soup in it. It's just creamy soup.
Well, thanks for coming on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Before you leave as well, is there anything else that you want to plug? Obviously, we'll just miss our tangent, or you will have played our tangent by the time this is released.
Yeah.
Won't plug that then.
Yeah, we're doing Crowded Fest in Leicester, like in a
End of September 27th, I think,
yeah.
of September.
Yeah, and I think we've got other stuff, but it isn't announced yet, so I don't know what we're supposed to say and not supposed to say. So yeah, but and we'll have we've got the I don't know if we'll still be running the Janky Tape Echo giveaway thing. So there's that. We're giving away one of our pedals that we make for people on Instagram to go and try and win that. So, but I don't know if this comes out before that ends or not.
Go have a look. Have a look. It might be. You might be able to win a thing.
Yeah, you might be able to win a thing. And then we've got a video game coming out at some point as well, but there's no like strict time on when it's coming out, and it definitely won't be out by the time this comes out. So like, look out for that.
Your eyes
Yeah,
peeled.
when I get round to finishing it.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Great. Cheers for having us, guys.
Cheers.